You can also mix and save colors using Photoshop's color picker window. Have you messed around with the color picker inside Photoshop? If not, let me show you a couple of cool things here. All I'm going to do here is I'm going to single click on my foreground color swatch down at the bottom of the toolbox. And as a quick side note, by the way, you can also single click on the background color swatch if that's the color swatch you want to go and change. But here for me, it's the foreground color swatch. So just click on that guy and that'll bring you into the color picker window. Now, if this is the first time that you've seen this dialog box, let me give you the super fast 5-cent tour. We have a main color window here on the left-hand side, and that's usually where people head to first. But where I head to first is this center color ramp, or this center color slider, which I'll talk about in just a moment. And then towards the, I guess the bottom right-ish, we have our different color spaces. HSB for hue, saturation, and brightness. We have RGB, red, green, and blue, and we already know that RGB works on a scale from 0 to 255. We have the lab color space. And then finally, in the, I guess, the extreme bottom right corner, we have CMYK, so cyan, magenta, yellow, and black. And we know that this color space uses percentages from 0 to 100%. And as a quick point of interest, we also have the hexadecimal color value. Do you know what the hexadecimal color value would be used for? It's used in web design. So when I'm building something in Dreamweaver, for example, or maybe in Flash, the colors that I use are actually going to be hexadecimal or hex colors. Okay. So what I would do here myself, if I wanted to mix a color, maybe I want to mix kind of like a dark green. What I would do first when I come into this dialog box is I would grab my sliders on my center color ramp and I would go and find my greens. I'd head into my greens here somewhere. So of course that could be greens that are closer to the blues or greens that are closer to the yellows there, right? Or maybe right into the middle of the greens there, something like that. And then what I would do is I would head into this left-hand panel and I would find the exact shade of green that I want. Maybe I want kind of a minty fluoride green or more of like a medical green almost. Or maybe I want to head into some dark greens down towards the bottom. Obviously the dark colors are across the bottoms. Or maybe closer to sort of an olivey color, like a washed out olive color. It really all depends on what you're after there. So let's say, for example, it's those dark greens that I'm after. Maybe something like this, right? Now, what's interesting is as soon as I find the color that I want, a few things happen here. First of all, I have the new color swatch up on top, and then below that, I have the current color swatch. So that's where I started, and that's where I wound up. The values that I see for HSB, RGB, lab, CMYK, and the hex value are all based off of this new color swatch. That's how that works. So let's say, for example, I've mixed my color, I'm happy with it, and I want to add it to the swatches panel over on the right-hand side inside Photoshop. Well, what I'm going to do is I'll go ahead and click on Add to Swatches there, just below the Cancel button. Go ahead and click on that guy, and we're brought back into this Color Swatch Name dialog box. I'm not feeling very creative in terms of names to give my colors. I think I'm just going to call this dark green, and I'll go ahead and click on OK. Now, what's kind of cool here is it dumps us back into the color picker window inside Photoshop, but you can see that my dark green has been added to the end of the swatches panel, right? Pretty cool. Let's go and mix a few more colors real quick here. Maybe I want to go after some kind of a light blue or maybe like a kind of a washed out blue, maybe something like this. That looks good to me. I'm going to say Add to Swatches. I'll call this Washed Blue. And I'll go ahead and click on OK. And there's one more color that I want to go and save out. I want kind of a brown color. I'm thinking actually like almost like a leathery color for our robot's eye patch. So see if you can go find a brown there. I'll leave that one up to you. You can sort of use your own judgment there in terms of what brown you'd like. But head down into your yellows, into your oranges there, and you'll find some browns there. There we go. Maybe something like this. And I'll again click on Add to Swatches, and I'll call this Robot Eye Patch. Okay, great. Go ahead and click on OK. Again, our colors are getting added on to the end of the swatches panel there. I'm finished with the color picker, so I'm going to go ahead and click on OK. Now, One final note that I'll make here, as soon as I click on OK, the last color that you and I had selected inside the color picker gets loaded into the foreground color swatch. In other words, our robot eye patch color.